Okay. Damn it is right. I'm gonna try reading. You gonna try too, dude? Okay. We're gonna try to read The Haunted Vagina by Carlton Melick 3, the third, whatever. Baby dude's running by to turn off the light. Okay, here we go. Author's note. I miss Andre the Giant. Carlton Melick, 4/14/2011, 8:48 a.m. Chapter 1. I've been scared to have sex with Stacy ever since I discovered her vagina was haunted. When we first met, I didn't notice her vagina was haunted at all. It seemed perfectly fine. Better than fine. Wow, I didn't make it far at all. It was great, at least for the first year. But after we got engaged and she moved in with me, I noticed odd sounds coming from her while she slept. Many couples have this problem. At first, I just thought it was her snoring. Then I thought there was a television left on somewhere in the house. I heard voices in the dark, whispers, then laughs, then cries, then howls. Let that sink in. Howl. The sounds were muffled, but seemed to become clearer and clearer with each passing night. Where the heck are those noises coming from? I asked Stacy one evening. She blinked herself awake. Huh? I hear voices coming from the walls, I said. Oh, she said. I'm serious, I said. That's not coming from the walls, she said. It's coming from me. From you? From inside me, she said, pulling off the covers and pointing to her crotch. I snorted at her. Listen, she said, pulling my head into her lap and pressing my ear against her vagina. It was like listening to the ocean in a hairy, flesh seashell. You're playing, I said. Like we can all hope. She giggled. It was all a joke. But then I heard it. A voice inside of her. I couldn't understand the words. A woman crying, babbling in a deranged language. Then she screamed into my ear and I jumped out from between Stacy's legs. Like a baby. My girlfriend laughed at me, squinting her dark brown eyes. Is that what... My girlfriend laughed at me, squinting her... So she squinted her eyes and laughed. Anyways. What the hell? I screamed. Told you, she said. What is that? A ghost, she said. What? I'm haunted, she said, touching her vagina and smiling. How did a ghost get in there? We all want to know. That's the pertinent question, isn't it? I don't know, she said. It's been in there a long time now. Why don't you do anything about it? I asked. What can I do? I don't know, call a priest. What's a priest going to do? Stick a cross up there and cast the spirits out? Maybe. It's really not that big of a deal. I've gotten used to it. She got used to it? How? Actually, I kind of like it. I frowned at a sailboat on the wall behind her. Yeah, she said, spreading her legs across my lap. Who else has a haunted vagina? Oh, Kim Kardashian. She flattened the bush of pubic hair and spread the lips to examine it. My other boyfriends thought it was kind of sexy. Woo! I shook my head at her as she smiled. I found it repulsive, but the fact that I was scared of her vagina seemed to turn her on. She made love to me after that. For her, it was the wildest sex we ever had. She had me pinned down underneath her, sucking on my crusty lower lip, sliding my penis into her ghostly regions, getting off on the terrified look on my face. Oh my. I swear I could feel strange things inside of her that night. Ghostly breaths against the tip of my dick. Formatting's broken on my copy too. Uh, but we were madly in love. I didn't even consider leaving her because of her ghost vagina. She meant everything to me. I loved her this much. He's got never mind. You have to see the formatting. It's all screwed up. That means infinity. Nah, dude, an 8 on its side isn't. Anyways, I've been consumed by her ever since the day we met. We were strangers who somehow passed out on a city bus together. My head in her lap, her curly brown hair encasing me like a blanket, hot breath on the back of my neck. When we awoke, she said, "That was cozy," and I smiled at her. She was very tall, especially for an Asian girl. Is that racist? I can't tell if that's racist or not. Anyways, almost a foot taller than me with silky curled hair and tiny oval glasses. Then she said she had a snuggly bed at her place if we wanted to continue sleeping. I agreed. I thought she wanted to have sex. The whole walk home, my eyes were glossy at her. Trying to hide my hard-on under my coat. Does that mean his glossy eyes were trying to hide his hard-on under his... But she really just wanted to sleep. It was late. Both of us worked the swing shift. We went into her studio apartment, the floor covered with laundry that she insisted was all clean, and stripped down to our shorts, underwear, and socks. She was right. It was definitely a comfortable bed. It was the biggest, fluffiest bed I'd ever been in. She snuggled me like a teddy bear all night. We didn't even know each other's names. But it was one of the nicest moments I've ever spent with another person. The next morning, we introduced ourselves. "Steve," she said, hopping out of bed to the kitchen counter. "I hate my name." That name, sorry. Her name's not Steve. She's saying, "I hate that name." Sorry, that's my fault. I could see her cocoa nipples through her t-shirt. She must have taken her bra off sometime during the night. "Sorry," I said. "Ha ha!" She said, eating Lucky Charms out of the box. She said, "Ah!" Whatever. When do you want to do this again? Oh, sorry. When do you want to do this again? Okay, so that's 2 lines of dialogue, both from her, but separate lines. Whatever. I shrugged. Tonight? Fuck it. She asked. I nodded, pulling on my pants. On the way out the door, she said, "Meet you on the bus." Wait a second, they were at her place. So she's leaving him alone at her place? Because it says on the way out the door, she said, "Meet you on the bus." Anyways, whatever. Overthinking. For 3 weeks, we slept in the same bed together. We never had sex. We never kissed. We never took off more clothes than our pants. We just dreamed together. The conversations were brief. We didn't go on any dates. We didn't get to know each other. It was just a sleeping arrangement. To her, I was just a stuffed animal with a heartbeat. But eventually, we started to talk. I found out her favorite food was stuffed grape leaves, and her favorite films were all Russian. She was born in Thailand, but adopted by a wealthy African-American couple before she could walk, and spent most of her life in an upscale suburb outside Los Angeles. She spent 10 years at the university here in Portland, getting degrees in every subject she could acquire. She wasn't interested in a career. She just liked learning new things, and her parents paid for everything until she turned 30. That's when they cut her off, and she had to drop out to get a job. Unfortunately, her degrees in philosophy, history, Russian, anthropology, psychology, and humanities were useless in the job market. Okay, so she worked at one of those hipster clothing stores downtown. That's when she decided her real passion in life was fashion design, because, that's what you do. And she's been saving her money to go back to school ever since. "I never went to college," I told her. "Never ever?" she asked. Oh, this dialogue. Never ever? "I was busy trying to be a musician." Oh, sorry. Son started playing with the truck. Anyways, "I was busy trying to be a musician. I sang and played..." Oh, no, that's me. I'm sorry, wrong voice. "I was busy trying to be a musician. I sang and played guitar. I wanted to be like Beck or the guy from Soul Coughing. Big and shiny." But after 10 years of going nowhere, I gave up. I think Chris wants me to read something else. "Crowds just didn't like me. Nightclubs stopped booking me for shows. I kept playing my music at open mic night at produce row, but eventually quit. I got sick of the lack of applause. I got sick of people ignoring me, talking at their tables like I wasn't even there, which is a big waste of time. Did playing your music make you happy? She asked. Yes, I said. Then it wasn't a waste of time, she said. That's when I realized I was in love with her. I didn't realize she was in love with me for months after that. She always said I was cute and small. I'm sorry? She always said I was cute and small, but that didn't prove anything. Okay. A terrier is also cute and small. This is true. And I wanted her to love me more than she'd love a terrier. Makes sense. The day I found out she loved me was the first day we made love. I would hope so. We were walking in the park blocks down by the art museum talking about music. Words. She told me she wanted to build a theremin? Theremin? I'm just not familiar with that word. And start a band. I asked if I could be in her band. She said no. She loves you, but can't be in her band. She wanted to play Schubert and Debussy on the theremin. Oh, it's an instrument. Sorry. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, I apologize. And said that I wouldn't fit in. Then we talked about how she planned to give a theremin rendition of Death and the Maiden, and how she wanted to incorporate it into bondage performance. I guess I should have read 50 Shades of Grey instead of this. As we were walking, we passed a grubby homeless man, probably 40 years old, sleeping on a park bench, shivering, wet. I recognized him. His name was Donut. As you do, just recognize, hey, that's Donut. Or at least I've heard his friends address him as Donut. Without thinking, I took off my coat and wrapped it around him. It was odd because I haven't even given change to the homeless in years. When I first moved to Portland, I used to almost daily. When I first moved to Portland, I used to almost daily. If I had change and somebody asked for it, I would give it to them. But I eventually stopped, mostly because I stopped using cash and was paying for everything with a debit card. I just didn't have change to give away. But they kept asking, corner after corner, day after day. When I did have change to give, they wouldn't thank me for it. When I apologized for not having change, they would get pissed off and spit on my shoes. Donut happened to be the worst of them. He was a stocky black guy with a bright orange sweater who strolled around Pioneer Square. This is a long paragraph. He would then ask me for money, then I would give it to him as if that was proof that I truly did not have a problem with black people. I would give him whatever I had, even $1 or $2. Then he'd ask for a little more. If I ever refused him, he would call me a racist. He'd say, "Oh, I see now. You're a skinhead. Well, Sig Heil? I don't know. I'm not a skinhead. Sig Heil? Skinhead." He'd continue yelling at me until I was 2 blocks away. Sig Heil! That'd be awkward. So, after half a dozen confrontations like that, I avoided all interactions with the homeless. I didn't even make eye contact. But on that day, walking in the park blocks, I gave my $200 coat to Donut, the same homeless guy who called me a racist for not giving him money. I'm not sure why I did it. I didn't want to give him the coat. I didn't do it because I had something to prove. I just saw a guy freezing on a park bench, covered him with my coat, and continued on. Maybe it was because I was with Stacy. Maybe I was just so happy walking next to her that it made me want to make somebody else happy too. I don't know. But after she saw me give away my coat as if it were the most common thing to do in the world, Stacy stopped me in the park, leaned down, and kissed me as deeply as she possibly could. And then she told me that she loved me, with her shiny dark eyes. That night, we made love. And the next thing I knew, she was moving her big fluffy bed into my place. Not long after that, I ran into Donut again. He was still calling me a Nazi, wearing my $200 coat over his orange sweater. I couldn't stop smiling at him. He sig-heiled me, and I just smiled back. I could tell it just pissed him off even more, because he threatened to beat the crap out of me. But I was just so happy that morning that nothing could possibly bother me. And that, my friends, has been chapter 1 of the Haunted Verge. Yeah, the haunted verge. Because, you know, it's the edge. The haunted vagina. I hope you enjoyed it. This one's for Scarlet. Thanks for the request. Bye.